I've been using 3D printed EDC for a full year as of like 2 days ago. I really wanted to talk about how it's actually holding up, how useful it's actually been, and some of the changes I've made in the past year since my original video. First up, and by far the one that's been the most used and abused, is the 3D printed wallet I started using. This thing is always in my pocket when I leave my house, even if I don't have my actual EDC bag with me. Like if I'm just taking my Model 3 across the street to charge, or I'm going for a lunch run on my lunch break. And whenever it's in my pocket, my keys are also in there, so it gets ground up and banged around pretty hard. And that being said, it's actually holding up surprisingly well. It's just got a bunch of surface level scratches and dings. The slots for the cards are worn in enough to make the cards easy enough to remove, but only my SSN card is loose enough to actually fall out if I flip the wallet over, and even then I have to like tap it. Now, the original designer of this wallet meant for it to be made out of TPU, but honestly my ABS print has more than worked out well, and I plan on using this thing for as long as it holds up. This thing has been so slim and small in my pocket that I really don't think I can go back to a full-size wallet. I would have imagined that this bright green 3D printed wallet would have been a conversation starter, but in the past year, nobody's asked me about it. Alright, next up on the list, and probably one of the things I use the most out of my EDC bag, are my 3D printed folding tablet stands. I originally had just one folding tablet stand and one smaller folding stand for my phone, but when I upgraded my phone to the Red Magic 10 Pro, the new phone was way too big for the old phone stand, so I swapped that out for a second folding tablet stand, which also has the benefit of being used for whatever else is in my kit, and these things are awesome. I use them all the time, especially to cradle my phone and whatever else while I'm working or chilling in the living room. These specific ones I use have 7 different positions, which has been great depending on what angle I'm looking at them, and the long base means that they're pretty stable. They can handle everything I throw at them, from my ROG Ally to my Surface Go, even in portrait mode, and they fold up so thin, a perfect fit for my little compact EDC bag. I also have a folding stand for my ROG Ally, and I was worried that the ROG Ally running full steam would warp the PLA, but surprisingly no, it's still holding up just fine, and I think that's because handheld PCs like this make use of thermodynamics and expel the hot air out of the top away from the plastic stand. And I love this little stand, man. It's great for when I'm sitting in the living room working on my laptop if I want to download a game or run updates, or if I'm playing on it with mouse and keyboard. Another useful thing that I've had in my kit is my little microSD card holder, and that is holding up amazingly well too. If you watched my original video, I did have a white one in that video. Now, the filament I used on that was so trash, hence the shitty print quality, so I wound up reprinting it like right after I made that video, and I use this thing all the time. I unscrew and screw the lid on at least a few times a week. I was worried that the PLA would wear down on the threads, but surprisingly it's still almost pristine. It's kind of crazy. In the compartment I keep it in my bag, there's nothing really to ding it up, so the outside of the container is still in really good condition. With 2 terabyte microSD cards now out in commonplace, it makes me chuckle whenever I think I can hold up to 16 terabytes of data in there. Most of my EDC devices use microSD cards, so it helps to have the USB adapter to move stuff around, and they also make good backup drives to keep my main flash drive decluttered. This container keeps them all nice and protected, and actually makes a good place to hold them so I don't lose them while I'm actively working with them. I also have a 3D printed business card holder in my bag, and in the year since my previous video, I don't think I've handed out a single business card from it. Now, I am in the middle of a channel rebrand, so I kind of need to replace the cards. I mean, the business card holder's in there if I need it, but it's sort of just sitting in there right now, not really being used for anything. It is nice and slim though, so it really doesn't take up that much space. As I pull all my various projects, like the novel I'm writing, under one umbrella, I think having these cards will be very useful in the future, so it's worth still having in there for sure. And of course, I have a 3D printed whistle on my keychain, which I've had on there for actually over 4 years now. It's not made out of anything crazy, it's just bog standard PLA, and it's been out with me on backpacking and camping trips year round. My keys live on the outside of my rucksack, so they're directly exposed to the elements, and this thing has been out with me to Halifax and back twice. Other than developing some weird curve to it, I have no idea what the heck happened there. It's still fine. It blows fine, no cracks or excessive wear. Mostly the exterior has just been polished a bit since it jangles up against my keys in my pocket. One of my key takeaways is don't underestimate PLA. And the very last 3D printed thing in my everyday carry is actually really new, and that's a flat pack Nintendo Switch game holder. I only really just recently started carrying my Nintendo Switch Lite. In my last video, I showed off a copper colored game holder. Now, the print quality on that one was complete ass, so I reprinted it in some carbon fiber filled PLA and a matte black color, and it looks a lot nicer. Now, this reprint has only been in my bag for a couple of days at this point, so I'll let you guys know in the long term how it holds up. I tried out a cylindrical holder like my microSD card container is, but it was way too annoyingly large. The flat pack style makes it much more compact in my bag where space is at a premium. The design of this is actually one that I took from Thingiverse and heavily modified myself. I sealed up one end of the sleeve and added a pull tab to the insert so it's easier to pull out, and I really like this version, so let me know if you guys want the 3D model. Now, there are two things you'll notice aren't in my EDC bag anymore. The first is that 3D printed credit card multi-tool, and that thing turned out to be kind of useless, so that got the axe really quickly. The other thing, the sliding lid container, was actually useful to hold small snacks, but when I massively downsized my EDC bag all the way back in May, it got cut because all I started carrying food-wise is a single Cliff Bar. The container took up way too much space and didn't really have a use in my new setup. So that's it. That's the 1 year check-in on my 3D printed EDC. I cut out all the useless stuff and really honed in on what it is that I actually use. Links to the 3D models are in the description if you want to print your own. And if you guys have any suggestions for things to print out and try daily carrying, let me know. I love playing around with random 3D prints. If you're new here, my channel's a weird intersection of tech and adventuring, so consider subscribing if you're into that shit.